The clinical evaluation of language fundamentals preschool 2, which is also known as the Celf P2, is a standardized test which has a purpose of assessing language skills and identifying language deficits in preschool-age children between the ages of 3 years and 0 months to 6 years and 11 months. The Celf P2 has 11 subtests which evaluate any skill areas that a child might have in his or her receptive and expressive language. Each of these subtests have their own separate scores, and they include sentence structure, word structure, expressive vocabulary, concepts in following directions, recalling sentences, basic concepts, word classes receptive, word classes expressive, word classes total, a descriptive pragmatics profile, and a pre-literacy rating scale. The diagnostician can find out a child's core language score from these subtests. Along with the child's core language score, this can detect a presence or an absence of a language disorder in a manner in which is time efficient. If there is any indication of a presence of a language disorder in the child being tested, the various subtests evaluate the language disorder, initial classroom and literacy skills, and any contextual communication the child has. The Celf P2 provides flexible and multi-perspective assessments that determines the child's language and communication strengths and weaknesses, and this helps the diagnostician in making any valid recommendations for any accommodations or interventions that the child may need, if entering an academic setting.
The test package includes the examiner's manual, which provides information of the purpose, design, development, reliability, validity, and normative data, as well as guidelines for scoring all subtests and directions for interpreting performance. Stimulus Book 1 is a spiral-bound easel with tab dividers for each subtest. A visual stimulus faces the child while information needed to administer the test item faces the diagnostician. Stimulus Book 2 is a small, easy-to-manipulate book of illustrations for the story for recalling sentences in context subtest. The record form contains test item choices, space for recording responses, test results, item analysis, and the behavioral observation checklist. Each subtest has its own section on the record form, with scoring directions for each subtest, repetition directions, and discontinue rules. The checklist contains the pre-literacy rating scale on one side and the descriptive pragmatics profile on the other, which is filled out by either the teacher, a guardian, or the diagnostician. The Concepts and Following Directions stimulus sheet is a laminated sheet that includes the verbal stimuli for the Concepts and Following Directions subtest items. It should be placed beside the record form as an alternative to reading from the stimuli form from the Stimulus Book 1. The Celf P2 should be administered in a quiet, well-lit room that is free from interruptions and distractions. The physical arrangement will be partially determined by the child. They may be seated or standing next to or across from the diagnostician, or the child and the diagnostician may both be on the floor. The stimulus books must be visible to both the diagnostician and the child. The child is not allowed to see the record form or the examiner's side of Stimulus Book 1.
Rebecca is a 42-month-old female. She lives in Manhattan with her mother, who works part-time at a beauty salon, and her father, an engineer. The primary language spoken in the home is English. Rebecca is currently enrolled in the Universal Pre-K program at United Cerebral Palsy of New York for 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. Rebecca is described by her mother and pre-K teacher as an upbeat child, as she is always smiling or laughing. She is extremely motivated by music and likes to hum along to songs. She also enjoys being told stories and looking at picture books, the pages of which she can flip on her own. Rebecca was born prematurely at 31 weeks with a birth weight of 5 pounds 6 ounces. She was diagnosed with spastic cerebral palsy at 18 months following parental concern that she was still not walking. Rebecca presents with hypertonia and hemiparesis of the left side of her body. Rebecca was recently fitted with a baclofen pump to help manage spasticity and is now able to isolate a finger to point. She uses a walker to help with poor balance. Rebecca uses 3 to 5 word utterances to communicate her basic wants and needs, although she rarely initiates conversation. She can follow 2 to 3 step directions. She is able to initiate and respond to play attempts from peers. Rebecca was referred for a speech-language evaluation by her pre-K teacher, who noticed that Rebecca was lacking in expressive vocabulary range, as well as having difficulty with formulating grammatically correct sentences and using morphologic markers, specifically past verb tenses and plural forms. Subtest 1, Sentence Structure. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to interpret spoken sentences of increasing length and complexity.
Let's look at these pictures. I'm going to point to the picture that shows I can eat this. Point to the picture that shows it smells good. Let's try some more. Look at these. Point to the boy has a ball. Here are some more pictures. Point to the picture I tell you about. Point to the boy is sleepy.
Subtest 2, Word Structure. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to apply morphological markers and to select and use appropriate pronouns to refer to people, objects, and possessive relationships.
I'm going to show you some pictures and say some things about them. I want you to help me by finishing some of the things I say. Let's try one. Here is a boy, and here is a girl. Let's try another. Finish what I say. This boy is standing. This boy is sitting. This girl has 2 cats. This girl has 2
Dog.
Let's try this again. This girl has 2 cats. This girl has 2
Dog.
I want you to say dogs to finish what I was saying.
Dogs.
Subtest 3, Expressive Vocabulary. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to label illustrations of people, objects, and actions.
Look at this picture. This is a bird. Look at this picture. What is this?
Sock.
What is this? Let's try this again. What is this? This is a carrot.
Subtest 4, Concepts and Following Directions. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to interpret spoken directions and identify targeted objects while remembering names, characteristics, and order of mention of pictures.
Look at these animals. Point to the cat. Point to the turtle. Point to the elephant. Now let's try some more. Remember to point to the picture in the order that I tell you. Do not point until I say go. Listen carefully. Point to the tallest animal. Go. Point to both elephants. Go.
Subtest 5, Recalling Sentences. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to listen to and repeat sentences without changing word meanings, inflections, morphology, or syntax.
I'm going to say something to you. I want you to listen carefully and say exactly what I say. Let's try one. The dog is eating his food.
The
dog is eating his food.
Now let's try some more. Remember to listen carefully and say exactly what I say. He is nice.
He is nice.
Subtest 6, Basic Concepts. Objective: to evaluate the child's knowledge of concepts of dimension, direction, position, number, quantity, and equality.
Look at these children. This is a baby. The baby is little. This is a girl. She is little too. This is a boy. The boy is big. Look at the children again. Point to the one who is big. Now I will show you some more pictures. Point to the one that is inside.
Subtest 7, Word Classes. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to perceive relationships between words that are related by semantic class features and to express those relationships.
This subtest was not used on this child because she is not within the appropriate age range for this particular skill.
Subtest 8, Recalling Sentences in Context. Objective: to evaluate the child's ability to repeat the sentences without changing word meanings, morphological markers, or syntax.
We're going to read a story together. No juice. Mom and the children were getting ready for lunch. Mom and Amy were making sandwiches and salad. Mark was setting the table, and Billy was looking for mustard and apple juice. Billy looked in the refrigerator. No mustard, no juice, he said. I can't find them. What did Billy say?
No mustard, no juice.
Mom decided that they needed to go to the grocery store. Everyone got in the car. Mom said, "Put on your seatbelts." What did Mom say?
Put on seatbelt.
Within the phonological awareness subtest, tasks are broken into sections such as compound words, syllable blending, sentence segmentation, syllable segmentation, rhyme detection, and rhyme production. This is a demonstration of sentence segmentation.
Tap your eraser like this. I will tap each time I say a word. I like cats. I tap 3 times, once for each word. Now you try it. Say, I like cats, and tap your eraser as you say each word.
I like cats.
Now let's try some more. Tap as you say each word. See me.
See me.